Right. Wait, there we go. There we go. We're live. We're live. Let me double check something real quick. Okay. Alright. Looks like there we go. We're live. Alright. So I exited out my browser. So I'll be watching the chat through the phone. And we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, so with that being said, welcome to the live broadcast, Deadly Saints Nation, as for some reason, my Xbox did not cut on. Anyway, so I was going through this past weekend, and I was actually watching The Dirt. I watched it once or twice over the weekend, but I wanted to take the rest of the time to kind of let it sink in and just kind of like gather my thoughts about it. So I wasn't just like going off of my notes or whatever. I took notes on basically some stuff throughout the whole movie. So there will be spoilers. In some essence, I guess you could say. I mean, obviously, you can't really review anything like this without having spoilers. But before we get into that, I'm trying to think of what I'm going to say, actually. But before we get into that, you know what to do. You know what time it is. So, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and like that video. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you stay tuned for the next upload. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Firestar Heart, and Firestar Heart CRW Universe for the official fan page. And, of course, if you want to help support this channel, you can check me out for my live gameplays on Twitch. Donate to PayPal or Patreon or Streamlabs, or you can buy yourself some merchandise at teespring.com/store/firestar-heart. Links for all those are in the description below. And of course, all the partners that I have are listed down below as well as Renegade Games, aka Havok. He has that going for him. And he also has a store that, well, yes, he's got merchandise out as well. So be sure to check all that good stuff out in the description box below. And with that being said, well, we can get to this review. And I'm wearing my Mötley Crüe shirt for this review because, well, yes, it works. So, welcome, folks. Bang. Enjoy the live stream. Let's get to it. Mötley Crüe The Dirt. My God. So I've already heard a few different perspectives and opinions for it. Not everybody's gonna like it, obviously. Like my good friend Ralph, aka Dr. Fog. He does. he's not too big on it. He's watched it a couple times himself, and well, he's not too big on it. But then again, I think differently. I was very entertained, and this movie actually entertained me. Unlike, well, any other movies really entertained me in a long time. So I actually felt good to watch. It actually felt good to watch this movie, this bioptic or whatever you want to call it. I'm not like a normal movie watcher. Sometimes movies don't move me normally as much as, say, they would move someone else, because I just kind of watch it. I know, okay, rate it. Dude, it is awesome. Thank you for stopping by. Dude, that movie was epic. So, before I give it my official numerical rating, I'll just go through the notes of what I took down when I was watching it. So basically, you get to relive, like, you know, the formation of Mötley Crüe, and it picks up from like Nikki Sixx's childhood as Frank, showcasing his father and his mother, and when he changed his name officially to Nikki Sixx. And I thought it may or may not be accurate. The movie did have some inaccuracies as it comes to what the book is. And by the way, I do recommend you guys read the book as well, because then you'll get the true feeling, the context of everything here. Movie adaptations, while they may maintain some accuracy, of course, there'll be some heightens and things like that to kind of up the drama and up the entertainment factor of the movie. So not everything is 100% true, but a good you could probably draw 2 and 2 together from the reenactments, and that's what entertains me the most about this movie. It was really awesome. Everybody that did that had their parts played them to perfection. I thought Machine Gun Kelly was a great Tommy Six. Dude played him down to a T, in my honest opinion. The actor that played Mick Mars was awesome. I loved his fourth wall breaking elements in the movie. And how he just, no, it didn't happen this way, but screw it. It's more entertaining. I would laugh every time he break out. I'm actually going to watch it again later on, because I want to just like watch it and take in without actually taking notes for a review or anything like that. So I'm gonna watch it again just to like have some more fun with it, because it's a really fun watch. And so after Nikki Sixx's childhood, he's going to form another band after London. Yes, he was. Yes, he was, K-Rated. I agree with that. I'm drinking Body Armor Strawberry Banana. It's really good. Really good for you. I love how Mick was the fuck it guy. That was awesome. Actor was perfect. They had a very great cast for him. Tommy Lee met Nikki at a restaurant in the movie, and then they started rehearsing together, and then you see where they start to do things, and they have a guitarist before Mick Mars, and he just wasn't cutting it, so they bring Mick Mars. And Mick Mars is the guy that dismisses the other guitarists, and he's just like, I'm the guitarist of this band. You're not cutting it. Oh man. And also where he went in and practically was like, if you're not in it for the long haul, then I'm wasting my time. I have a freaking disease. It's biting away at me. Like, dude was not bullshitting around. It was awesome. It was awesome to see that. So then that's when Tommy Lee takes him to go see Vince Neil after Mick's like, so who's the singer? Tommy Lee's like, I know a guy. So they go to see Vince Neil's cover band, Rock Candy, I believe it was. And what I thought was cool was Vince was freaking, the dude playing Vince was up there freaking singing Billy Squier. And I love Billy Squier. I love listening to his music too. That was awesome to hear. And basically it was like that way they painted him coming off as he came up in the movie was like, yeah, I'm in it to screw a bunch of chicks. And well, Vince did. So did Nikki. And Tommy was kind of like a hopeless. Basically, he was a hopeless romantic. Yes, I agree. Get the actors' names and list them in the comment section below if you can, because I remember them, but I remember the names, but I can't like play them off my tongue right now because I actually hadn't really seen too much of them in films before this one, but they were really good. And I agree with you on that. Duke played Kurt Cobain probably really well as well. So after they, start playing together and they blow Vince's, annoying girlfriend. They blow her away, and then, she's like gone because they start taking off, and their first gig starts with this big old fight, and then after the fight, everybody's like, Mötley Crüe, yeah! So then they get up on stage and play again, and then you just start seeing like a montage of all this, the sex, the drugs, the rock and roll. I mean, it's all there in the movie. It is, and it's frequent, throughout a good few minutes at least, if not a quarter to half of it or whatnot. And it does take a serious turn, which is also pretty cool. Like, I like how they managed to do all that, but the ride is wild consistently through, which is awesome. And the way Mick Mars was in the movie, like he had this sense of cynicalness about him that was just it was Keeny. It was awesome. It really he cracked me up every time he was too, because he was so serious that it just played off everybody else in a kind of comedic fashion as well. But it really makes you go like, yeah, dude, how are they alive? And before, it even goes through how they came up with the name Mötley Crüe, where Mick had written down Mötley Crüe. Nikki goes and changes the spelling around. So it's, Mötley with the low and brow letters, and then Crüe, C-R-U-E, instead of C-R-E-W. So that was pretty cool to see. They go through their deal with Elektra and stuff like that. And then we get to a point where they meet Ozzy Osbourne. And the actor that played Ozzy Osbourne almost looks like him, dude. That was scary. He almost looks like the way Ozzy did back in the 80s. That's scary. And then they actually showed Ozzy snorting ants and pissing at the pool. It was hilarious. I fucking cracked, dude. And oh man, it was awesome. They showed like a hotel fire, like a recreation of the Looks That Kill music video. It had the Razzle from Hanoi Rocks. That was freaking cool. They had a part in the movie where Nikki did blow off of this chick. What they were having sex while he was doing the blow off. What in the movie was like they were. It was just wild. Yes, Doug Booth. All right, here the actors' names. Doug Booth as Nikki Sixx, Machine Gun Kelly or Colson Baker as Tommy Lee, which was perfect. I had no idea he would be that perfect, but he blew me away, dude. I would think maybe, I don't know if they left enough of an opening for a part 2 or a spinoff or not, but I don't know. And you might be able to, I don't know, or at least some type of little like mini show or something. I don't know. Daniel Weber was the guy who played Vince Neil, and Ewan Ryan or Iwan Ryan, or however you pronounce his name. I want to say it's Ewan Ryan. So, yeah, that was Mick Mars. That was he was awesome. He did really, really good. I think well, it's hard to kind of pinpoint a favorite out of the actors. Thanks for posting those names in the comment section, by the way, K-Rated. Subscribe if you haven't already. Might be cool to have you around for future episodes. It's basically shown throughout the movie that Mick Mars was by far the most mature member of the band. And I think we could kind of already draw that conclusion. They do show they show when Tommy like gets into his like first altercation with like an ex fiance of his, which was like, wow, holy crap, that's like one of your first big instances of the drama outside of the whole intro of Nikki Sixx coming up, and then you got Tommy Lee meeting Heather Locklear, and they had the way the movie depicted that was like around the same time that Vince and Razzle were involved in that car crash, and of course we know the car crash that happened was the one that took Razzle's life, unfortunately. That was like a really, really big, serious part of the movie. That was terrible. And depicts, like the nightmare that followed. And eventually, Theater of Pain was released. Then we get Nikki Sixx falling deeper into his heroin addiction, which then led to him dying and being brought back to life. Vince Neil has a breakdown. Nikki Sixx goes from thinking that he was blaming Vince when he knew deep down it was kind of himself, or at least that's how the movie plays it out. It's crazy, and like the way the whole movie plays out from there is just like, it's insane, dude. Because it just keeps like getting more intense, and you can just see everything building up. And finally, when the tensions, rise, Vince leaves. And then after, the Dr. Feelgood thing, they go like kind of straight to, the 1994 stuff with John Corabi. And they don't give a guy any lines, but they have him in there. By the way, they had a dude playing David Lee Roth at one of the parties. That was cool. That was cool to see. They had a lot of features in there. They even had a part where Nikki recorded a voicemail going, "I'm not home because I'm dead." When you look past how that came in to happen, how why he did that, that's kind of a sarcastic thing to do, which kind of sheds a little light of humor, but also it's from a serious situation, so you're like, okay, so you don't really play it off. But when you realize that he's being a smart ass, and before he decides to go get sober, go get the rehab and stuff. After the breakup, see Vince is basically further into a breakdown. That's when he finds out about his daughter, which, by the way, they had her born way, way sooner than what she actually was in real life. I guess for, added effect in the movie. That was another inaccuracy. But they did that to, kind of flourish and develop throughout the movie, I guess. And, eventually Vince loses her, and that just, that breaks his heart, which, naturally so. Mick Mars starts to, then it slowly comes to when they get back together around Generation Swine area, the Generation Swine era. And I'm guessing they didn't do anything with the Pamela Anderson thing in this, but they did do something. They did showcase something that split Tommy and Heather up. Nikki, they have where Nikki meets his half brother. Nikki apologizing to Tommy. Mick Mars help bringing the boys back together, and Nikki, I want the family back together, and they're all like, together at a table again, and they comfort Vince and get back together. They have a touching reunion. by the end of it. And, you know, it goes on to say they played, you know, for 20 more years. Well, the reunion in the movie, I think, was another one of those dramatized reenactments that didn't necessarily happen that way in real life, but for the sake of the movie. But it was good for the movie. So that was a cool thing to see them doing there. After that was pretty much the end of the movie, but like it was just a fun, consistent watch all the way through. So, with that being said, my official numerical rating for The Dirt, and no, I'm not being sarcastic or any of that matter, I'm giving the movie a 10 out of 10. I'm giving the soundtrack a 9 because of that one song. And you know what song it is. It's the Madonna cover. So I'm giving the soundtrack a 9. I'm sorry. Just no Madonna. No. So the movie gets a 10 out of 10 for me. The soundtrack gets a 9 because of that one song. And with that, we go on to the SmackDown review. Now, SmackDown from last week, there's not really much to talk about because it was basically the gauntlet and a couple of other things. So the couple of other things, real quickly, was Miz cutting a great, fantastic face promo. I like he's finally at that point where he can be a great face, and he doesn't have to like turn heel 6 months to a year later. He can be a face for a while, but who knows how they're gonna have Miz later on this year after his program with Shane McMahon. All we know is now we want to cheer for Miz to, you know, beat Shane, you know, rear end at WrestleMania. Cool. We had the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, taking on the women's tag team champions, Sasha Banks and Bayley. And the Iconics got a surprising win. Does that mean they're going to WrestleMania now? No. We'll see. Then we had the Kevin Owens show with Becky Lynch and Charlotte, and that led to a brawl. And then basically from there, we went into the gauntlet match. Kofi Kingston knocks off Sheamus, Cesaro, Samoa Joe, Rowan, and Randy Orton to win the gauntlet. He won the gauntlet to get the title match. But then here comes Vince. And by the way, this took up the entirety of that last hour. So, yeah, like I said, it's a quick SmackDown review. There's not really much to go on here. Daniel Bryan comes out because Vince McMahon was like, you got one more opponent, and you beat the WWE champion himself. Kofi loses to Daniel Bryan. So once again, Vince screws Kofi Kingston via Daniel Bryan, the very man who just like 5 years ago they were saying was a B-plus player. And now Kofi's gotten that same treatment, and it's led to a whole fallout where the New Day are talking about quitting and stuff like that. And Kofi's like, no, we can't quit because then Vince and Daniel win. Then they win. And, you know, the New Day's at an impasse right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on SmackDown this week. I'm looking forward to it. From what I've heard, tonight on Raw, Kurt Angle faces Samoa Joe. And tomorrow night on SmackDown, Kurt Angle will be facing AJ Styles. So we got a very good couple of nights of programming ahead, I really do believe. NXT TakeOver is looking really awesome because for those of you who don't know or may not be aware of. NXT TakeOver comes on the Saturday night before WrestleMania, so that whole weekend is a wrestling thing, is a wrestling deal. I will not be up here live reacting. I don't think I'm going to be up here live reacting to WrestleMania or TakeOver, but I will do reviews of them. But it just depends. Okay. We may or may not. We may live react. Okay, we may live react to that after all. I don't know. Dark Angel's just over here whispering in my ear.
Hi.
But it's going to be long, folks. If we live react to the whole show, it's going to be long. So I hope you guys are prepared for that. If we do. If we live react to the whole show, I hope you guys are prepared. Because that is going to be intense. As for NXT TakeOver, it might be just a review, but I'm looking forward to that card as well. From what we know that Tommaso Ciampa did have to vacate the NXT Championship. He is going to be out, on the shelf for a while. The match is now for the vacant NXT title, and I believe a 2 out of 3 falls match. Johnny Gargano, Johnny Wrestling, Johnny TakeOver, whatever you want to call him, versus Adam Cole, baby. And that's going to be a very good match. I would say Johnny Gargano will finally win the NXT title there, but who knows? They could give it to Adam. They could give it to Adam Cole. Keith Lee is also injured, from what I understand, and that puts his NXT TakeOver match at risk, or it may just be completely scrapped because of the injury as well, which is a shame because we were going to get him and Dijak, so that was going to be really good. But as for Raw tonight, it's going to be kind of, I think it'll be kind of interesting to see what happens, considering what we know is probably going to be taking place. But anyway, that was my very quick SmackDown review, which followed up my Dirt review. Most of this podcast is pretty much The Dirt. So, if you guys enjoyed all of that, be sure to like and comment and subscribe. And all that good stuff. Follow the Twitch channel for live gameplays. I'll be returning to there soon. I'm almost done with the logo work. 24 hours of Fire Stars coming up soon. I'll have to just wing it, figure it out. So, I'll bring that to you guys the best way I can. If not, I'll make sure that the stream is, if I can't go 24 hours, I'll make sure the stream is long. But I will try to do a 24-hour type of stream where I do something that is an equivalent to 24 hours at a time. But we'll just see how that works out. I'm trying to do it before WrestleMania. That's why I pretty much know I have to buckle down and get that done. So I will be back on Twitch sooner rather than later to do all that. Got some cool things to do. And yeah, follow all that. Buy some merch if you can. Support the channel any way you can because it really helps. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Deadly Saints podcast. And I'll see you guys wherever you decide to follow me next, whenever I go live again. Until then, Firestar Heart.
Stargazer.
We're out.